G'day guys and gal, it's no secret that the Eldar lore has been sucking really hard recently, all their plotlines either leading nowhere or just getting straight up abandoned. This was entirely due to bad writing by GW, as they supposedly wrote themselves into a corner with the creation of Ynnead, a new plot point that had the potential to dramatically shake up the setting. However, with GW not wanting to actually shake things up for the Eldar, the awakening of Ynnead has been more or less postponed indefinitely. But what if Ynnead actually woke up? What would happen in the setting? What would happen to Slaanesh and the Eldar? Would it actually have that much of an effect on things? Before we get started, there's something that's been missing from the channel for quite some time now, almost like we haven't had a piece of Majorkill. But that piece is missing no longer as we dive back into the October Surfshark sponsorship. That's right baby, we're back! If you've been around for a while now, you'd know that we used to do monthly Surfshark VPN sponsorships for like a year and a half straight. And after a small hiatus and some cheeky negotiation, we're back in action. What is a VPN? Why should you use one? And why should you choose Surfshark over the others? A VPN is an incredibly versatile software that basically allows you to mask your IP and place your location anywhere across the world. This in turn allows you to access the internet of that location, which bypasses government firewalls, location restricted websites, and licensing BS. This is great as it means you can expand your Netflix or other streaming service library or access content restricted in your country. It also has your identity so you can do all this browsing safe and sound. For me personally, I used Surfshark VPN when I was in Europe last month in order to watch the AFL Grand Final whilst being in Prague. Surfshark VPN stands out due to being incredibly easy to use, just one click and bam. But another reason is by using my link and code MAJOR below, you'll get 86% off and 3 months free. And if you don't love it, then Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. Cheers to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Today we'll go over what would happen if the Eldar God of Death Ynnead awoke, as well as the methods that could potentially wake him up. Now let's get into it. To give some context, the Eldar have basically been eating various degrees of dick for the last 10,000 years. The craft worlds are dying one by one, maiden worlds are getting overrun or destroyed, and Comora is having all kinds of its own issues. The biggest issue that the Eldar face is due to Slaanesh having a claim on the entire Eldar race's souls. This has severely kneecapped them. Craft worlders can only breed as fast as they can collect spirit stones, which in itself is a very risky endeavor, whilst Dark Eldar can only leave the webway for short periods of time lest their souls be consumed. Then Games Workshop offered a solution, the Eldar God of Death Ynnead, a being with a greater claim on the Eldar than Slaanesh, who could take their souls into himself and reincarnate his followers, allowing Dark Eldar to freely roam real space and for craftworlders and Exodites to no longer need to carry spirit stones. It was said that if awoken, Ynnead would fight and beat Slaanesh, freeing the countless Eldar souls that have been consumed since the fall of the Eldar. This sounds pretty lit, but the lore around it was handled fucking atrociously. It started cool, a new band of Eldar heroes going across the galaxy and doing cool shit. However, it became a bit of a joke when Slaanesh sent a single demon that was basically able to fuck up all the heroes despite only using 1% of its power. The demon wasn't even Fulgrim or a known greater demon like Enkari, just some random new one that was apparently super powerful. The demon then told the Eldar, after its mere illusion almost beat the greatest Eldar heroes, that Slaanesh doesn't give a fuck about them and they offer absolutely zero threat. The lore was so bad that GW then canned the Ynnari storyline and basically made the awakening of Ynnead impossible. They did this by putting the final Crone Sword in Slaanesh's palace itself, somewhere that just isn't accessible for the Eldar. This is problematic as the main way the Ynnari is seeking to awaken Ynnead is by collecting all the Crone Swords, so therein lies the issue. I actually made a video about how GW could fix this shitty Ynnari lore with this exact setup. Still waiting for my book deal on that one. I bet it's arriving in the mail any day now. Damn postage network letting us down. But instead of today looking at how we could unfuck it, what if it wasn't fucked in the first place and the Eldar were actually able to retrieve the final Crone Sword or do one of the various other things to wake him up? What would happen? Well, just because Ynnead is prophesized to kill Slaanesh and free the Eldar doesn't mean it will actually happen, or at least not happen very quickly. I could be prophesized to fuck a bloke in the ass, but that could be 30 years from now, or potentially not at all if I decide to slice my dick off prior. Prophecies constantly eat shit in Warhammer because important people make random decisions. The return of Gilliman and the Line were both completely unforeseen, which changed most prophecies in the galaxy. Even Magnus was confused as hell when it all happened. We also know that gods are quite limited in their scope of direct power, and need to use their mortal followers to enact their will. Chaos has a god of war, knowledge, disease, and nipple piercings, all with their own hordes of demons, and they are still struggling against the Imperium, whose god is a crusty skeleton with his balls hooked up to an intergalactic car battery. The Eldar also already have a couple gods still around. Kind of. So there's no reason why Ynnead would be this uber powerful mega god. After all, Slaanesh was able to beat the entire Eldar pantheon. Why should Ynnead be able to instantly clap her? So no, I don't think it would be Ynnead wakes up and Slaanesh goes kaput. More likely, the Eldar would receive various buffs and go from becoming a dying race to an active player. A lot of Dark Eldar have been joining the Ynnari for obvious reasons. It literally removes their debuff. So if Ynnead actually awoke properly, then the billions of Dark Eldar who are stuck in Comera could venture forth in massive Eldar armies. The thing is, with how fucked the current setting is, it wouldn't even just be Eldar vs Slaanesh. This resurgent Eldar army would fight the Necrons, the Tyranids, the Imperium, and Chaos. It could also reveal the dark side of Ynnead, perhaps the desire to spread death to all corners of the galaxy, or maybe the Eldar can start unleashing their true power upon the lesser races. Maybe it's not that dramatic and the Ynnari remain a side faction, a cult dedicated to their death god in a similar way that the Harlequins are dedicated to their laughing god. There's a lot of maybes here because the lore just isn't that certain. However, we can tell by the way that Slaanesh is just having a laugh with the Ynnari that even if Ynnead awoke, it wouldn't necessarily be an immediate threat to the Prince of Pleasure. More so an annoyance, as suddenly someone else would begin consuming the Eldar souls. Learn to share, Slaanesh, you greedy fuck. There's also the potential for Eldar demons to become a thing. After all, the warp gods of chaos produce a shitload of demons, whilst the Emperor is able to convert mortal heroes into demons. Living Saints, the Sanguinor, and the Legion of the Damned are all technically demons, just created by the empowerment of mortals instead of the Emperor cutting shards off himself. So in a similar vein, Ynnead could have his own method of demonic creation, perhaps using the souls of the dead to create them. After all, what the fuck do you think the Yenkani is? Overall though, this is why I want Ynnead to awaken. I don't think it's the setting shakeup people would believe it to be. More so just gets the Eldar back into the game and allows them to stand on their own feet, not just being the Imperium's bitch or some side faction that pops in here or there. The Eldar are currently the only faction that's actually just fucked. The Imperium just got the Lion and Gilliman, the Orcs have a juiced up Gazkul, Chaos is getting Demon Primarchs back left, right and center, the Tower the strongest they've ever been, and there's a shitload of Tyranids everywhere. Everyone is looking good, except the Eldar. The Ynnari are AFK, the Phoenix Lords are all scattered in the webway, and the avatars of Cain get clapped by everyone and their cat. Now is a bit of fun. How would the Eldar actually wake up Slaanesh? What are all the viable methods? Well, Eldrad try to be a bit cheeky and force the dormant, weak Ynnead to wake up by channeling the power of every dead Farseer in every craft world to perform a ritual. This would have in turn kicked both the Eldar and the Imperium in the balls, which Eldrad saw as an acceptable sacrifice to wake up Ynnead and kill Slaanesh. This ritual was stopped by the Death Watch and cannot be attempted again. It did, however, empower Ynnead and change him from a dormant state to a semi-awake state, allowing him to choose Yvain as his champion, as well as create the Yenkani and constantly revive and empower his most powerful followers. So overall, it wasn't a total waste. The next method is the complete and utter genocide of the Eldar race, with their souls being directed towards Ynnead. This would allow Ynnead to awaken in a supercharged state, hopefully killing Slaanesh and freeing all the Eldar souls, who would then get reincarnated by Ynnead. As you can imagine, the Eldar don't really want to try this method as the margin for error just isn't that good. Remember, not all the Eldar like the Ynnari or want to follow Ynnead. To many, the Ynnari is just a death cult, so they aren't going to willingly kill themselves for it. Another method for awakening is if the Eldar are able to get their hands on a significantly powerful source of psychic energy and sacrifice it to Ynnead. It should wake the god up. Although mostly not canon, the game Inquisitor Martyr featured a powerful being known as the Ultima Anathema, basically a mega being with the power to kill the Chaos Gods. The game has multiple occasions of the Eldar attempting to capture the Ultima Anathema in order to feed her to Ynnead, awakening the God of Death. So by that logic, other super powerful beings, like the Star Child or the Emperor, could be fed to Ynnead to wake him up. Obviously, the Crone Sword ritual is another way to awaken Ynnead, however the Eldar are one short. However, as I said, I made a video before that goes into how GW can make a lore-friendly, super awesome plotline for how the Eldar can basically pull off an epic heist to retrieve the final Crone Sword from Slaanesh's palace. It also seems like Kira Gorach could awaken Ynnead through tricking Slaanesh. It's not clear how exactly, but it seems if Kira Gorach can bait Slaanesh into trying to attack him in the webway, which could then trigger the awakening of Ynnead, who could kill Slaanesh then and there. In a similar vein, if the Eternal Matrix, which is like the heart of the Eldar afterlife, in which all Eldar souls used to go after death to be reborn, before Slaanesh was a thing, if that was to be destroyed, which is possible as it technically physically exists in the webway, then the destruction of that would trigger Ynnead's awakening by blowing up the webway and birthing him from the ashes. So there are actually a few methods beyond killing the entire Eldar race or retrieving the final Crone Sword. However, most methods are super risky or just straight up suck dick. The reason why so much emphasis has been put on the Crone Sword method being the only one that the Inari actually want to attempt, because the other methods literally fuck over the entire Eldar race, even if they were to be successful. Like, who wants to destroy the webway? You wouldn't find a single Eldar who would be down with that. I guess the point of this video is to say pull your head out of your ass, GW, and give this thirsty whore some dank Eldar lore. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up the Majorkill merch. There's only 24 hours left before these awesome t-shirts, singlets, hoodies, and bathrobes are gone for good. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more depressing shit Eldar lore. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.